So we're gonna talk about something very controversial that has been very, very divisive in the world of gaming. The Last of Us Part Two has been released. We've had about just less than a month to really let it sit, let it register, and think about what this game is trying to say. And I'm just gonna ask Nathan off the top because he's the only dude that's played it. I've watched it, and Alex has heard things, but he hasn't played it. But Nathan, I'm gonna leave it to you to give your overall final thoughts on this game. Do you like it? Do you not like it? And why?
I enjoyed playing it. Really upset that it was over. Like when I finished it, I done a full live stream. Took me about 23 hours. Like
Yeah, that was mad.
13, 14 hours in, man, my character was running into walls. I had kind of closed my eyes and stuff, but it was for split seconds. And kind of got back to reality, kind of slapped my face a little bit and told myself, let's get this game finished. But no,
honestly, because initially when you said you were going to do that full 24-hour stream, initially one of the first thoughts is, yeah, that's an interesting idea. But after watching it, I would recommend not doing any more 24-hour streams because you're clearly too out of it to enjoy the game.
No, I did enjoy it.
Way too out.
No, I did enjoy it. I really enjoyed it. I'm sorry I'm not like everybody else that just screams and shouts, especially when I can't do that when my neighbors upstairs are sleeping.
When you're falling asleep and walking into walls in the game, I would recommend, having full energy and being full focused.
First of all, the reason why that happened was because I only had 4 hours sleep the night before. I also was at work.
Even more reason not to do the 24-hour stream. But
no. I went to sleep for an hour beforehand, got everything set up, and it was fine until 14 hours in.
When you fell asleep while on live stream.
I didn't fall asleep. It was literally seconds. It was seconds. My character was just running. I closed. She run the wall. I could hear something, and I bumped back on, slapped my face, and I'm ready to go. And I was doing all this and trying to keep myself awake, and then I had blocked nose and stuff, and Mark's dad was making comments that I was sniffing too much coke and that I've just got the tics and everything, and all this, when really
you're twitching apparently.
Yeah. No, not like that. Just doing this like that, because my nose was blocked and I didn't want to get up unless I really had to go to the toilet and stuff, because I had already gotten up to grab a drink and go to the toilet. So I didn't really want to get up. I only went to the toilet once in that whole 23-hour live stream.
Impressive.
But I really enjoyed the game. I thought the graphics was pretty good. For it being on a PS4, obviously, if it had been held off till next gen, I think it would have looked a hell of a lot better, especially with having RTX.
And do you reckon, because I reckon the game will be reintroduced on PS5, do you think?
It won't be up to standard.
There was a gameplay released last year or 2 years ago, and in the game it didn't look as good as in that gameplay, and people are saying it might look that good when it's released on PS5. So do you think that might be a thing? Do you think they'll update?
If they haven't created a separate version to not be upscaled, to look nicer, just the actual game being built for that console, then I think it would look pretty good. But if they only upscale it and stuff like that, it's not going to look as on point as it would if it was made for that console. I feel like they could have left it an extra year and had it for that console.
All right.
Because I would now be still excited for the game. But I'm upset that the game's over. that's it. That Joel is dead.
You've enjoyed waiting for it. You enjoyed waiting for it.
Well,
for a year.
Taking into consideration that I only played the first one last year, so to me,
take that into consideration.
Yeah,
I've been waiting for this game
for like 6 years
to watch this game for about 5-6 years.
Yeah. So for me, I could happily have waited one more year, but I do understand that people that have played it when the first one first came out on the PS3, yeah, I totally understand that they would want it sooner. But if, for example, a console is going to be released at the end of the same year that you kind of want to release the game, I would say just wait and then release it for that console. Like they could have waited and released it as a PS5 day one game.
Yeah.
But instead
I thought they were going to do that.
Yeah, but instead they decided to have Spider-Man do that, which was still a good call because, like, now that yes, The Last of Us, like the whole waiting is over and stuff, like because I play
PS4 records left, right, and center.
Yeah, but because I got into Spider-Man as well then after playing The Last of Us, I now just can't wait for Spider-Man. So it's kind of moved. But I would like to have something there for next year, and at the minute I don't. Other like Cyberpunk is coming out at the end of this year as well, so I haven't really got anything, to really talk about. Normally, Call of Duty would be in my anticipated games for the year, but
Ghost of Tsushima is coming out very soon.
Yeah, but I'm not that excited for it. Like
or Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Still not that excited for it. Like they're interesting games to play, but I feel like Cyberpunk, Spider-Man are kind of the only two for this year that I'm really, really, really like interested in playing. Just because I love Spider-Man, like always have. But like Cyberpunk is just, I think it's going to be the mark. I think it's going to be the actual mark as to when ray tracing is going to be a huge factor in a game, and it'll start off everything else. Like, so games after Cyberpunk comes out, I think we'll all try and aim to have ray tracing so that the game looks beautiful, and I'm interested for that.
So I just want to get back on the last one, because like a lot of people have said that the gameplay, although has added new things that the first game didn't have, a lot of people have said it is a wee bit repetitive. It's a wee bit they could have done a lot better with the gameplay. I've heard a lot of people say that. I just want to know, like, did you have any issues with the gameplay itself? Do you think they could have done anything better, or were you fully immersed in the game when you were playing?
I feel like the only thing for me they could have done better was the aiming of weapons. I felt like it didn't feel right, but that's also coming from somebody that plays Call of Duty. And Call of Duty's aim on console or PC is really sharp. It feels like how it's supposed to. Like how I would compare The Last of Us controls for like shooting guns or whatever, or weapons at all, would be, if you've ever played GTA, it has the same movement of aiming a weapon and moving around with that weapon. Like the character doesn't, it's as if there's a few milliseconds response delay between you actually stopping it on the controller and it actually happening, which I don't like. And GTA feels the exact same, whereas Call of Duty is all just sharp. As soon as you stop moving that controller or that analog stick, that's it stops. It's very, very sharp. But if they had done it like that, I would have enjoyed the aspect of like using weapons and stuff a lot better. I would have gotten through the game, I think, a bit faster too, because a few times I could have been saved if it had Call of Duty mechanics for like shooting some of the monsters in it, but like it is what it is. I got the game. It was really, really, really like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it was surprising. It was like you could tell there was a lot of thought going into it, or that had gone into it. What surprised me the most was like some of the AIs like literally turning around and apologizing for getting the two of you caught when trying to do it all like silent under the radar, like moving in and around other like bad guys and stuff. Like I was really like shocked. Like I even, whenever I was live streaming, I actually mentioned, I goes, wait, she actually apologized for her getting both of us caught. I was like, no other game has done that I've played. Maybe it has in another game, but in what I've played, it hasn't. I was like, it's them little things that adds to it, Whereas if she hadn't have mentioned it, like, because I remember like just saying, you're like, she's a dick for getting me caught and stuff. And then as soon as I say that, next thing, all I hear through the thing is, sorry about that. Like they were too quick for me or something. I can't remember what she exactly said, but she apologized for it. And I was just like, they've done good. They've watched out for all the little things in the game, and added that. But yeah, no, to me it was just the shooting. The shooting was the only thing I kind of had an issue with. The story as well. Like it was very, very.
The story is the main thing. The main controversy of the game, where people are saying, "Hey, the gameplay, the graphics, everything perfect, but the story." Like, do you personally see anything wrong with the story?
Other than me being able to finish off the girl that finished Joel, and I feel like because people,
spoiler alert.
I feel like because people couldn't do that, I feel like they've put it down to that's a bad story. But then when I think about it, and it's going off what you said, Aaron, that she has now become the next Joel and Ellie in that situation there, that I'm like, right, okay. It kind of fits as well as just, killing the woman.
Yeah.
So,
I just want to ask, because like a lot of people that I've seen complain about this is that they think that this game is about getting revenge. But the game isn't about getting revenge, it's about breaking the cycle of revenge. Like the whole theme of the game is revenge cycles. Because you have Joel who kills Abby's father, then Abby kills Joel for killing her father, and then Ellie. The game is about breaking the cycle of revenge, and Abby is the first one to break the cycle by sparing Ellie at the theater. Because Abby kills Jesse, and then apparently, at first we think she kills Tommy, but she doesn't. But she does try, but she spares Ellie, so she is the one breaking the cycle, saying there's no point in killing you. It's just, this is just an endless cycle, blah 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 blah. And then she just spares her because Lev decides. Well, Lev is there to sort of help bring Abby's humanity back.
Yeah,
like her saving Lev and what was her name? The sister. What was her name? I can't remember her name. Hold on, let me check. I just need to double check her name. Okay, last. Let's cast. This was two. Cast. Okay, hold on. Yara, that's her name. Yara.
Mm-hmm.
But after Abby saves Yara and Lev from the other Seraphites, because Yara and Lev save Abby first from hanging, so she feels she owes them something by going and saving their life, and then they sort of bond, and then Yara dies, and it's just Abby and Lev left, and then Lev sort of just tells Abby that no, this isn't the right thing to do. Right before Abby was about to kill a pregnant Dina. Very shortly after Ellie killed Mel, who was pregnant. Yeah, so there was a bit of contrast there. So, and Abby was about to say, "I don't care," and kill her anyway. So, but Lev was there to say, "Right, bring her back down to the ground," and she spared her, and things move on. A year passes, and Ellie still is moving on, but is having some serious PTSD. She's seeing Joel's beat-in face every night. She's not sleeping, she's not eating, so she has to go, and she goes and finds that Abby is dying on a big pole, but cuts her down and starts a fight with her and loses 2 fingers and remembers the last time she was talking to Joel, in which she wants to try and forgive him, because his death is basically his own fault. Because Joel, her not killing Abby is kind of her forgiving Joel. Like I can't quite word it exactly the way I wanted it, but there's a lot of there's layers there that I can't word them right at the minute. But there's a few elements there. I just want, before I go, I'm going to go back to it if I can figure out how to word it. But there was a few other complaints about things there, and Alex had an issue here. But I know you, Alex, had an issue with Joel going and introducing himself to a bunch of strangers. Well, he didn't introduce himself to a bunch of strangers, but basically, Tommy and Joel save Abby from dying. And then Tommy introduces himself and Joel. So Joel didn't introduce himself. And when they go back to the place, like, Tommy introduced himself to them, and they introduced themselves to Tommy and Joel, and then Joel just mentions his name. And then they all sort of get their guard up, and Joel's just like, you sound like you heard of us or something. And then Abby shoots him in the knee, and then the rest of the crew jump on Tommy, knock him out, and all that there. And a lot of people are saying Joel was a bit too trusting there. They're basing the Joel they're watching in this game off the one from 4 years earlier. Joel is in a community now where he's watched people come and go. Like, the community themselves have put it upon themselves to regain their humanity. And there's, like, if you look around the place, there are a bunch of notes that show that the community as a whole are trying to regain their humanity, regain trust in strangers. And even though they're keeping their guard up, they're trying to help people. And at the end, you can tell that people have come and gone with no drama whatsoever, and Joel has become more trusting over those years, and that makes sense. Like, Joel has lived in relative peace for the longest time since the apocalypse started. Like, 20 years of him being a really shitty person, and then he meets Ellie, and they get to that community, and he starts changing. He becomes more trusting. He starts to regain his humanity even more. So, and they save his and Tommy's life. So it's just like, there's no reason he should have his guard up, because he has his own weapon on him. They have their weapons, but they don't have them in their hands. Like, it's just like there was no reason there why Joel and Tommy shouldn't have trusted them. So, like, that is one of the main complaints. Like this, it just makes no sense whatsoever. But it does make sense when in the context of the game and the time that has passed. So there is that. And then there was a lot of people saying that when you play as Abby, it feels like Naughty Dog trying to force you to feel sorry for her. But I didn't really get that. I don't think they were trying to force you to feel sorry for her. They were just showing you
her personality.
They're showing you exactly where she was coming from, so you can understand where she is coming from. Because essentially, she is probably a better person than Joel. Like Joel's probably done much shittier things than she has.
Well, one, she's younger.
Yeah, she's younger. So, and another thing is, it makes no sense that she was so built. And although I can't say much on that because I'm not educated enough in fitness to know if that's realistic or not, so I can't say much. But you can tell, like in the earlier flashbacks, like she's normal. Her arms are normal, but you can tell from cutscenes that she's
later on. There is a gym in the place they're at, and there's
there's a big ass gym
to the absolute.
And she passes up. She passes up sleeping with Owen to go train. She's saying, "Let's go to training. Let's go to training." She's dedicated to training, even when because she knows Joel is out there and she wants. She's waiting and hoping for a lead, but she's training and preparing to go and find him, to go on a journey to find him. That is her main goal. She wants to train and train and train until she's ready to go out there and kill the man that killed her father. And it would make sense that she wants to train because she's seen the carnage that Joe left in his wake when leaving that Firefly hospital. He killed many, many people. And
one being her father.
Yeah. And I can see some people have also brought up the point that and this is something I was hoping that they might acknowledge in Last of Us Part 2, but they didn't. And this probably be my only real minor gripe with the story itself is that I think the Fireflies should have waited until Ellie woke up at the end of the last game. I think they should have waited until she woke up so she could make the choice on whether or not to give her life for a potential cure or not. And the
Fireflies weren't exact; they were just borderline terrorists.
Yeah.
They lit up places for no reason,
basically. But
like what was it? What was that city in the first one you went and it was just complete ruin?
I can't remember.
The game. That was literally just Fireflies made an insurrection and just fucked it completely.
Yeah, but though there is that element to it. Like both, so there really is no good and bad because like we have Marlene who raised Ellie from when she was like a baby, like after her mother died. So you'd think they might leave that bit. Waiting until Ellie woke up to make that decision herself, but they didn't do that. So that's really the only gripe I had with it, and they didn't address that in the second part. So I didn't particularly like they didn't address that. Like I thought Joel might have brought it up but it very easily would have annihilated her argument against Joel, saying like I should have died in that hospital. Blah blah blah. I should my life would have meant something. But it's just saying like they were going to kill you without you having a choice. It's like although like I had a feeling you might want to give your life, I wanted to hear it from you. I wanted to hear that decision from you, but they were just going to kill you without your permission. So I had to kill them. That would have been a great point to bring up, but it would have completely annihilated her argument against him. So we had to keep it sort of even with all that, but and yeah, there's a lot of layers to this game, but there's a lot. Everybody complaining about it. It's sort of just we didn't get to kill the person that killed Joel.
Yeah,
this is an awful game. Like there's just more to it, and like, people just aren't. It's just people. It's just pure surface level thinking from what I've seen. Like nobody's understanding the overall theme of the game. and that's really irritated me. And the amount of the amount of abuse that Neil Druckmann's getting, along with the actress that played Abby, like recently the story, like she's been getting a lot of death threats on Twitter as well. So, and even with that new tool, Nathan, she hasn't used that on her Twitter at all.
Well, that's
Neil Druckmann hasn't used it. Like he's letting that hate flow in, but he's been screenshotting everything and sharing it on his profile, saying, "And this is the kind of comments we're getting. I'm just going to shine a light on it." And but yeah, the game has caused many controversies, and like I think, like after I thought about it, like it took sort of a week for it. I took about a week to really get it, because after the first watch, I wasn't really satisfied with how it ended. But the more I sat with it and thought about it, like the more I got it, and I was saying, yeah, that's really good. And then I keep rewatching scenes, and I go look at reactions of people watching it for the first time, and just saying, yeah, it's like these scenes do make more sense now that I've thought about it. But I wasn't surprised with the reaction at all. There's just I wasn't even mildly surprised. And also another criticism the game is getting was the false advertising, because in probably a trailer that came out last year, there's a part in the trailer where Joel shows up and
yes,
yes. It's just like, you think I was going to let you do this alone? Like, he was replaced with Jesse delivering that line, and a lot of people have been complaining about that being completely false advertising. But it's just like, hey, it's really no different to what Marvel do. Like, we expected to see Hulk in the end of Infinity War in that big ass battle. Like, that was really hyped up. Everybody was getting very excited about that. We only see him for a minute and a half in the opening of Infinity War, and that's it. But there was no uproar over that. And like people have been complaining, saying, "Hey, we don't get any Joel at all. We're supposed to have Joel in present time and along with Ellie on our journey." It's just like this is an outrage. But it's just like, it's no different to what other companies have been doing. And we get plenty of Joel in the game anyway.
Make it A-okay, does it? Just really fake trailers for the crack.
Well, I don't particularly like it either, but like it's just something that they're doing. It's just,
yeah, but you're saying it's like, oh, Marvel did it, so whatever.
Yeah, and like I'm saying it from the perspective that there's so much outrage over that bit of false advertising, and nobody had a problem with it. At other times, it's just for this game in particular. Like, people are very, very furious over it, and it's just saying, all right, you can pick and choose when you want to be furious. But yeah, those are kind of my overall thoughts. Like, I enjoy. Initially, I was a bit unsatisfied, but the more I sat with it, and the more I've rewatched it, the more I've enjoyed it. Like, and a lot of people complaining about the brutality of Joel's death, and well, I watched The Walking Dead, and I've seen much worse. And Nathan, you have also seen much worse.
I've seen eye sockets hanging from people.
Yeah, somebody getting battered over the head so hard that their eyeball pops out, and are left for 2 minutes with their eyeball popped out, while the dude with the baseball bat has a wee monologue. And then he just continues beating his head in to a pulp until there is no face. There's no head left. And it's just all just liquid. It's basically... But, so that didn't faze me. A lot of people have been complaining about that bit. But yeah, that didn't really faze me. And we didn't even really get to see much of the thing. We just see one blackout bit, and then 2 hits with the golf club.
But in the opening of the next one, we see the eyes straight away.
yeah. But yeah. I thought the game is. I think the game has earned the praise it's gotten from the critics, and everyone shitting on the game are just surface level thinkers. That is.
All right. So that's your opinion summed up.
Would you agree or disagree with what I've said now?
I'd probably agree with most of it, yeah.
Yeah, you have no rebuttals.
No?
Fair enough. So Alex says, well, I know you haven't played it or watched the full thing, but
Don't really care, to be honest.
would you play it?
I mean, it doesn't
Or
look
will you
like
play it?
fucking worst game ever, so I don't know.
Well, I would recommend giving it a go, just so you have full perspective of the whole thing. Because if you played the first game, I'd recommend playing the second.
Like, I've seen enough of it. It's not a 10 out of 10. Like.
Well, but I would recommend watching it from start to finish.